Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Delia Jackie Glass, Hope Glass here, Mama, Navy Vet, Certified Doer, and the Laced Up Legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. Honored to serve. Grateful to be here. Putting 10 toes. I don't know if 10 toes are on the ground right now, but 10 toes down. 10 toes down. Um, let me get some things open. I hope you all are well. Drop in the chat what you got going on this weekend. There's so much happening that there's just so much happening. So I just want to know what you got going on this morning. This morning, I've got a lot. I have a lot to shift into, and so I want to make sure that we get a good, because I'm trying to show y'all something. I want to make sure we get a good depiction of what we got going on this morning. As I sort of get my screens and stuff. Ooh, Foster Beauty. Yes, yes. Can I tell you that is on my calendar? I am so excited about Foster Beauty. I think number one, I just love the idea of just like I love Richmond's fashion community. Like they do that huge fashion show every year, and so I definitely want. Let me stop sharing this screen because I got stuff I want to share y'all. I want to show y'all. I want that for us so bad. So bad. Okay. I want that for us. Like, I can't even tell you how badly I want it for us. So at any rate, yes, yes, and yes. Let's get it. Gardening this weekend. Say it ain't so. This I love. This I love. Listen, whatever you're doing this weekend, I hope that you do it in good spirits. Good morning, Brian, Daniel. I hope you do it with love and that it fulfills you, because joy is resistance and it's the thing that we need. So let's get into today's morning dew. This one, I think, y'all, we're gonna do a little educating, and I would love to hear your feedback. Make sure that you remember this is our time together, so do not hesitate. So we are back at it again, another morning dew, a chance for doing this work deeper and together, neighbor, good people. Now, today I want to talk a little bit about electoral reform, which sounds like it's kind of academic and kind of like technical. I say it, electoral reform. But please do not let that fool you. This is to me, this is deeply personal, because the way we do elections and electoral, like I know everybody hears electoral and they probably think electoral college, uh, and no, but this is about how your voice, your power, our future, and who gets to represent us, how that happens. Honestly, we are in a transformational time. So if you've ever looked at the ballot, like if you have ever looked at your ballot and been like, how in the world did we get here? Then this is for you. Like, then this for you. If you've ever wanted more than two tired options, I was going to cuss, two tired ass options, then this is for you. If you've ever wondered why it feels like money talks louder than people, this right here, this is for you. So let's break it down. What is electoral reform really? And if you already have an idea of what it is, electoral reform is, then drop it in the chat. Good morning, Miss Charlene. I love good morning from the Bayside Rehabilitation Center. Get it in, girl. We want you at your best, because we in for a fight. Miss Gwen, good morning. Good morning. So tell me in the chat if you already know what electoral reform is or have an idea. Drop some things in the chat if you know some stuff about it, because I want to know who are our neighbors that are familiar, because we're going to need to be doing some education, right? So what electoral reform is it's just saying, let's stop trying to plant seeds in a toxic soil. So we need, or how do we, the question, how do we stop planting toxic seeds in, planting seeds in a toxic soil. I feel like I'm a good little seed. I'm a good little seed. And after, getting elected, there are amazing people, but we do sit in this soil that does not necessarily allow for us to grow in a way that gives you the beauty of the plants that we are. That is the truth. That is my truth. That is only my truth. And so we need new soil, we need new conditions, we need a new ecosystem, because the one we're in, it's rooted in exclusion, confusion, and straight up fatigue. Right? I can say this. At its core, electoral reform is about changing how we vote so that we're not boxed in, changing how we fund campaigns so that not just the wealthiest among us or the well-connected can run, because that's a thing, and changing how we govern elections to make them fair, to make them transparent, to make them ours. One thing that I am familiar with, that I love, right, that I'm a huge advocate for, at least I feel like I'm an advocate for, and I want to do better advocacy, is ranked choice voting. So it is one of my favorite tools in my toolkit, because I don't know if I want to call it tool and toolkit. I mean, it's just the thing that has the juice, right? The potential, the transformation. So ranked choice voting works like this. And I'm going to show y'all a little video just to get y'all to understand what it is. Instead of just choosing one candidate, has anybody ever heard of ranked choice voting? If you have, give me a thumbs up or something in the chat. If you've ever even heard of ranked choice voting, or talked about it, or had this conversation with anybody about ranked choice voting. Have you? Some of y'all coming to the table. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Have you ever had the conversation about ranked choice voting? Well, I'm gonna dive into it. So instead of just choosing one candidate, voters get to rank the candidates. Your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, right? And so on. And you can still vote for the one you want. You just got options, real ones. And that means your vote might actually just count. It's not just a throwaway, especially when there's more than two people running. So instead of just choosing the one, but yes, that you vote, you rank them. And then nobody wins an election until someone gets over 50% of the vote. The candidate with the fewest first place votes is eliminated. So their votes, if your candidate is, then your vote goes to the next ranked person, and it keeps going until someone has a majority. And I want you to give me a thumbs up, a smiley face, a positive emoji that says, if you believe that no one should win a race without at least getting 50.0001% of the vote. That no one should win an election without 50+% of the vote. That is my belief. that is what I stand on. I have ran the last race not the last race, but I ran for city council in Norfolk back in 2021. And in that election, the top three vote getters had, well, it was the winner won by like 30 something percent. The next person under them was 30 something percent. The next person under them was like 20 something percent. So here we have an election where the person that won, 80 something percent of the electorate didn't vote for them. Right? Like that is wild. So you understand what that means. There's no more spoiler effect. The spoiler effect is when institutions and parties and people run other people just to make sure to take votes away from another person. There's no more wasted vote guilt. Like, dang, I wasted my vote on my person and they ain't even win, because when there's more than two people in the race, you got to be able to make sure that somebody wins by 50%. And I'm looking at the comments. Thank y'all. I'm glad some of y'all have heard of this. That means no more, I like them, but they can't win. Defeatism. I've heard that. Like, I like the candidate, but there's no way they can be such and such. Yes, that is wild. So let me show you what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to show y'all a video. Let's see if I can get it pulled up. I'm going to show y'all a video of like how this could work in in actual theory. I want to, there it is, share my screen. That's what I want to do. I want to share my screen with you. Share. Okay, I'm going to hit play. This is 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Politics is tearing us apart, and it's because elections aren't working for most of us. Here's why. In the US, each of us can vote for the candidate we like the most, but whenever more than 2 candidates are running to win one seat, it's possible for most voters to hate whoever wins. Because of the split vote, politicians can ignore the will of most voters and still win. Ranked choice voting gives you the freedom to select a backup choice to prevent that from happening. Let's say a group uses ranked choice voting to decide what to eat for dinner tonight. Each voter selects their favorite dish, but also has the option to choose backup dishes. If one food receives more than half the votes, it wins, just like in any other election. But let's get to dessert, where the competition is more fierce. What if no ice cream flavor has more than 50% of the vote? Under a normal race, vanilla would win, even though a majority of voters didn't pick it. With ranked choice voting, the flavor with the fewest votes is eliminated, and voters who chose that flavor as number 1 will have their votes count for their next choice. Everyone gets a say, no one wastes their vote, and the winner is the flavor that the largest number of people agreed upon. That's ranked choice voting. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. You get more voice and more choice, and that makes elections better for all of us.
Right. Hold on, I'm trying to get it out of here. Right? Does that sound like easy? Like, does that sound, I don't even want to say easy. Does that sound like fair? Right? Like, it is just that easy. And it's 1, 2, 3. And I've had conversations with people where they're, and you tell me your thoughts in the chat. Please drop your thoughts in the chat. I get people who are just like, no, it's too hard. We can't do this. It's possible. It's possible. It's just ranking things. And we do this all the time. We do this. First, second, and third place happens all the time. There is actually proof of concept. New York City implemented ranked choice voting in their local elections in 2021, and it was used in their mayoral race where over 800,000 votes were cast, and 90% of them said they found ranked choice voting easy to use. That's massive. So it's already helped one of the most diverse cities for real federal election. For diverse city council. It helped elect one of the most diverse city councils in New York City history. More women, more Black and brown people, more other kinds of candidates. Maine became the first state to use ranked choice voting for a federal election in 2018. And guess what? It helped elect Jared Golden, who wasn't even leading in the first round, but won after the second round when the second choice votes were filed. That is democracy evolving in real time. That is how we get ourselves together. And then even in Alaska, y'all, in Alaska, they use ranked choice voting to elect Mary, I'm going to say Peltola, Peltola, I think that's her name, a Native Alaskan woman to Congress, the first in U.S. history from her state. Native folks in Alaska were not being elected to the federal level because quite frankly, rich folks or other folks, European centered folks, were going to Alaska, making it their home and being the ones to be the seat for Alaska. It was the first time, think about this. This is recent history. The first time a Native Alaskan woman was elected to Congress. She won with the support across party lines. Why? Because ranked choice voting lets people vote honestly, not strategically. And when folks understand that is when it's paired with community education. When we take and we pair that understanding with community education, it works. It works for all of us. Let me go to the comments before we start talking about money, because I want to talk about money, because this morning we're talking about electoral reform. If you with me, you with me. Miss Charlene says it seems like a way to make sure Tanry. Yeah. It seems like, yeah, because you have to, here's the deal, is what happens is this was happening, I want to say in Norfolk, when I first got here, the local elections were in May. And what was happening is 10% of the electorate were showing up. So all candidates had to rely on is their little chunk of people to show up. They didn't even have to talk to voters outside of their circle, because most of the elections were happening in November and no one really, no one really cared. So it didn't matter if there were 30 people on the ballot, right? It didn't matter, because if you already have an established network, right, whether money network or got people understanding, then you can have folks in it. But I think it is a way, it definitely feels like a way to make sure that the minority thought is not the sum of us all. So I'm looking at the questions. David James Glass says, I wish the top two could govern together, tired of the one way either. Yeah, thanks, Thomas Jefferson, right? That gave us the fact that top two don't govern together, right? That you, at one point, we could have a president and vice president from different parties. That's why Virginia's set up a little bit different, set up that way, where there's no unified ticket, but at the national level, that's what we get. Only one Misha says, how will that help our two-party system? That doesn't help our two-party system. That's also a problem, right? That does not help. But what it does is let me just be fair. Like, what I think about the two-party system, which I think it's not helpful, because when the party has their pick, the party has their pick. When I came in, I ran for office, and I was not the party's pick. That means, like, the entire state, at least the entire state Black electorate selected the person, a different person, right? They had their person. Even the local, faction had their person. And so the reason I feel like the reason why I won is because, one, I snuck in, right? The former delegate quit and left a space and didn't give them enough time to sort of galvanize. But it doesn't help the two-party system. But I will tell you, if you look at what's happening at the national level, I don't see Nancy Pelosi and AOC in the same party. It just that's not the way I see it. I think those are two totally different things. However, the leadership vacuums with the money and with the time, right? So, like, that is, you just now see folks being able to create their own path to leadership, because that's what hurts in the party. So I'm with you on that. That's another conversation that we should have. What happens when a candidate is the only one running, no challengers? Then you don't need the ranked choice voting system. The ranked choice voting system comes in when there are more than two candidates, because our role here is to make sure that no one wins a race without at least 50+% of the vote. That's what ranked choice voting is about. Thank you for that question. I want to say, Mary Kate, 921. I'm actually dyslexic. 921. Good morning, Dawn. Good to see you here. Yeah, so that's how that works. So then let's talk about money, because we do talk about how power, even within parties, that the power for vacuum comes at the top where there is money, and also getting into it. It's I just had a conversation with a candidate that was like, and it hit me when they said it, was like, you mean to tell me I have to raise $500,000 for a $17,000 job? Yeah. So there are folks raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to be delegate for a job that pays $17,640 a year. That is not just wild. I think it's an injustice, because it tells you right away that money has become the gatekeeper to entry into this, right? You got to be able to get that money, and to leadership. It is the gatekeeper into leadership. We are in a position right now where your value in this political world is determined by your money. And that is unfortunate, which is why people go through resorts sometimes to get money in places, because I think sometimes there's also an education of the general public of helping them understand why we need their support. And especially now, we need support, but it's hard to ask given the conditions of the world. I'm an everyday person, and the way the world is right now, it's affecting me deeply too. I'm only able to do this work because my spouse holds it down at home, right? Like he holds it down. He keeps the house in parade rest. He tells me I try to do my fair share. I do not financially hold my fair share in my book. Uh, um, um, but he carries the household. He's the reason why I can show up every day for you. But even that, I'm still like, I feel financially insecure as a person because I'm used to making a really great salary. I'm used to taking on or just taking on clients and be able to make good money. Like these are things that I'm accustomed to. At one point, I was the breadwinner, and so it makes it very difficult to sort of live and deal with that fact sometimes. Uh, for me, between paying my caucus dues, office expenses, community outreach, paying staff, I'm past due. I am stretched thin in my candidate world. And I'm doing this with duct tape and a dream sometimes. That's the reality. Doing it with duct tape and a dream, and I for real. And if I were a single parent or working full time or didn't have the support to do this, forget it. I wouldn't be here. There's no way. And that's why campaign finance reform has to be a part of the conversation of the things. We cannot keep pretending that the system is built for working people. It's built for access, not excellence. Right? That is, I'm going to say that again. We cannot pretend that the way we've designed this system that is built for working people, it is built for access, not excellence, because I see it. But let me pivot a little bit because this is not hopeless. It's happening, right? Where we go from here, people are fighting across the country, and we get to bring it right to Virginia. We do. We have that opportunity, but we need education. We need pressure. We need resources. And yes, we need each other. We need each other. So if you rock with me, like from that standpoint, if you rock with me, then you put me in your budget. Treat this like you would your favorite nonprofit or mutual aid group, because I'm not just pushing paper. I genuinely am pushing power back to the people. This thing that we do in the morning, really, I want you to feel powerful, but it also takes financing. And that's clear. I will ultimately, because I stay in a position where I just raise enough to keep my office afloat. I am probably the kind of person that is an amazing leader, which I know this, right? Led hundreds of people, led tiny groups, large groups, done it. Like career-wise, I could never be in a leadership position party-wise because I don't raise enough money. That is the truth. Like, so I ask you too, like, put me in your budget. If you can give $5 a month, freaking outstanding. That, like, I can tell you that pays for the Canva thing that we use to make our graphics, and we think about all the things. Yeah, I want to stay in the fight. And I ask for help, and it sucks to do it in this time, but the help keeps making folks, like everyday folks like me, be able to do things like this. Because my truth is, this is my truth. It may not be the sole truth. My truth is that if we want better kind of candidates, we have to have a better process. If we want real representation, we have to fund it or fight for it. And that is the reality. So let me go to your questions. I see some in the chat. Okay. Amazing Soul Norfolk says, is there a way to increase pay for state delegates? There is, and we are having some conversations about it. Actually, I'm going to Google this real quick. The JLARC. There's this organization called JLARC. JLARC, and they are called the Joint Legislative Audit Review Commission. What the JLARC does is they study things for us, so that we can make decisions on we can make decisions in the legislature. The JLARC did I'm going to try to see if I can find pay and compensation. They just did an evaluation or a study, I want to say last year or so, on legislator pay. I'm looking so that I can just put it in the chat. Control P. Nope, I don't want to print anything. Cancel. They just did a study, and I'm trying to find it here on legislator. Oh, compensation. It was December 2024. I'm going to copy this link and put it in the chat. I know it's not going to work for you, for folks on Instagram or anything like that, but I'm going to put it in the chat anyway. And then I'm going to go ahead and also put the title of the report. It's just compensation for, there we go. I'm going to put this so you can see it if you want to see the report. The thing about it is it's really tough to get people to want to do this, because it's like we're asking for more money in a time where our people, we got to get more money to everyday people. That is always, I believe that is always at the forefront of what we do. What I am also fighting for, or thinking, a couple of us have sort of talked about the funding piece, is we can't do this without our staff. So I would probably be more amenable to asking the state to have my office make more money, because it's not a livable wage for what's asking. It's not a livable wage for what we're asking of the people that work for us. So I get about, I want to say, $60,000 or $70,000 a year to have a staff member, as many as I want. I actually probably need 3 staff members, but I have 2. Right now I have 2. And I split that money, which means they're not making anything. they're making pennies. And then I try to fundraise to supplement and provide some level of pay deference for them. I don't love that, but that is what I do. I want to also provide you all with some campaign transparency, so you can see where funding has come from, because I think that's also part of it. There's a website called VPAP, Virginia Public Access Project, and you can look up and see where everybody's taking money from, where everybody's getting funding from, where all the things. So it's a great tool, a great resource as well. I got one last question, and then I know I got a packed day. David James Glass says, I'm seeing a lot of Dems are unhappy with Spanberger's campaigning on assault weapons ban sales, that it motivates more Republicans to the polls than Dem. So what was that a sport rifle in your story? No, it was an AK in my story, right? Like, if there was an assault weapons ban, then I would give up that weapon like that. Then I would no longer be able to have that weapon. I'm a gun owner, but I believe in I believe in responsible gun ownership. And I think the conversations that we have with people who are in love with guns, right? The gun culture because there's a gun culture that's not toxic. The toxic gun culture would have you believe that they needed that gun, right? Like that is a need. In my house, we don't believe we need it. We also don't think it's the whole problem, to be fair. Like, yes, it is a weapon of choice. And if that was one that we had to give up, then we give it up. It's like, I like my guns. They are not my children. I just hate that we can't have a real genuine conversation about it. Like, even me saying that out loud, David James Glass, like saying, hey, I got an AK, like saying that makes people uncomfortable. Like, you immediately sometimes on our side become a bad guy. Prime example is I was giving a conversation to a bunch of youth, and I was talking about gun ownership and how, I have my concealed carry, blah, blah, blah. And it was a large group of youth. I got an email the next day from someone saying, you're a bad Democrat because you're talking about guns and blah, 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 blah. I talked about responsible gun ownership. And if you've got one side saying just full on toxic with their weapons, full on just toxic as just it's gross, right? And then you've got a fraction of the other side that says, like, if you own a gun, you're a bad person. If you own a weapon, then you're a bad Democrat. Then we can't. Then there's a faction of us that want to stay hidden. I don't. I own my truth, right? Like, I shoot guns. That is okay. I am responsible. Like, that is okay. Having not being able to have that conversation sometimes with your own constituents, your own people, because the extremes on both sides of gun culture make it nearly impossible. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, and I can see why people are upset making that the focal point. But we have to have a real conversation too about who the F is picking up these assault weapons and deciding to do terrible, heinous things with them. And why is that? Why are they making that decision? And overwhelmingly, it is European American men. There is a problem. And the fact that I live in my Black skin, and just being Black alone is a group project. So I also get painted with that broad stroke of marketing of Black people. I don't broadly stroke all European American men, but I know we got a problem. I know we have a problem, and we can see it. We can see it by what is happening in our White House right now. That is the fragility of a certain brand of people, that they cannot do no other. That, and I said, it is the reason why I say this is toddler behavior, because there's very little self-regulation, right? Very little emotional regulation of self, and very little ability to see outside of your self. Children are inherently selfish. They come out, we feed them, we clothe them, we diaper them. That's just natural. We have to mature them out of that. And that happens over time. And when you have adults that have not passed that stage, that were not guided, and maybe they were guided, but chose to stay in that mindset, this is what we get. Not the right tools. We get shootings, we get oppression, we get all these different things. So yes, to answer your question, yes, to answer your question, story. And I think that there's a comment. If you know a lot of Dems that are unhappy, I think you should, have that conversation with them and share that with the Spamberger campaign, like, as to why they feel that way. I did get one person say, like, why is she doing an ad like that? And I was like, so that speaks to people. That speaks to a group of people too. Oh, wow. I got a lot more. Thank you. Definitely a sensitive subject. So James says, definitely a sensitive subject. It looks like South Carolina would strike down an assault weapons ban. To me, it feels like a losing campaign thing, kind of like McAuliffe understood. Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's basically, he said, so they're saying, yeah, I mean, yes. And, he said, basically what Dems are saying is own sport rifles. And again, I'm not in love with my guns to the point where, and I don't have a lot of those kinds of weapons either. So it's all right. I want responsible gun ownership more than I want anything else. Don Nassos says, I'm hoping you can allow me some grace here, as my mental health is struggling daily watching the Trump regime turning our democracy into authoritarian dictatorship to use the military against us. I'm learning about Article 5 and the goal of Project 2025 to rewrite the Constitution. I don't hear any of our Democratic leaders in the White House. Okay, I think you meant in the White House saying or doing much to make me feel like they understand the urgency. I understand if you're not prepared to. Because what I will say, Don, is I wouldn't expect a lot to come from the White House is in full on submission mode, right? Like, they are submitting to whatever the whims of the architects of the project. I don't even want to say just I don't even want to just say the leader of the executive branch, because I believe he's an actor in a play, right? Like, I genuinely believe he is just an actor in a play that he did not write. He did not write 2025. He did not, he's not the architect here. He is he is their leading man. So I do think what needs to happen, especially when you feel like I don't hear any, that is because you got to widen your circle. You really do, like, figure out, there are people that are fighting back, that are asking questions, that are doing the education piece. So my thing would say, just so that you don't feel like, well, no one's ever, there's somebody out there doing the same thing you're doing, saying, I'm not even hearing no one talk about this, or this. As you go on your journey of learning, I see that you're on Facebook, finding the people to follow that are also talking about this thing, to connect you to the other people. There are people in government, and it's a dangerous game right now to speak out against, but people are doing it, right? People are doing it, and they're losing their space and place. So that's what I would say is that we are operating from a place of urgency. I know that I feel it. I know that there are other people out there, other civic influencers, as well as people in the government, that are operating with a sense of urgency. And because we can't see and feel all the things, the shift, this thing was a long time coming. And they felt the same way. When are we going to get our plan? Now they're in plan execution mode. We don't have to allow them to see it all the way through. So that is why I'm saying, like, you got widen your circle and get under your belt people that not just align, but don't get yourself in groupthink. I also watch their stuff. I also watch some of the things that are being said on the other side of things, right? Excuse me, not even just say the other side. I watch the supporters of what's happening, just to hear what they're saying, to get an understanding of their psychology, of why they would support something like this. And sometimes you hear the desire is valid, the execution is not. I am not willing to give up the Constitution for the sake of some of the things that some of these people want. And some of them want very valid things, right? Like, listen, that's valid. I can understand that. But to give up the Constitution for that, to give up the foundation of this governance, I do not want democracy or this constitutional republic to be done away with by the summer. Okay, so like this, widen your circle. I had to do that because I was like, what they doing up there? I feel like they not doing it. They are. And they're mad at each other too. I think about what the Senate did with the budget and how pissed the House was up there. Like, they are trying to figure it out with them too. So, like, have your words, have your fight, get your people, stay educated. You're doing the right things. Yep. Oh, sorry, with the Supreme Court. My apologies. Okay. All right. So with that, y'all, this has been a very fruitful conversation, I'd like to say. I want to close with ranked choice voting, campaign finance reform. These things are not technical issues or technical fixes. They're moral ones to me. They are moral ones. We are in transformational time, and these are transformational tools. We are not here to just play the game. We're here to rewrite the rules. That is what is happening right now. And I'm grateful that you're in this with me. I want participatory governance. And I'm hoping that we can get it some way, shape, or form. Okay. I'd love to hear your ideas. Please don't hesitate to hit up my accounts and say, hey, Jack, won't you this next Thursday talk about this or do that? I'm here for it. The controversial things, the not so controversial things, the happy coincidences, all the things, that's what we're here for. Until next time, I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and a laced-up legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. Honored to serve, good people. Honored to serve. So glad you're here. And no worries, Don. I'm grateful that I can only answer from my truth. It's not everyone's. But be well. I'll catch y'all in these streets. What am I doing? I'm at a conference. Gamma Sigma Rho, I want to say conference this weekend. We've got the Dem breakfast on Saturday morning. Just giving y'all some insight into scheduling so you know where to catch me this weekend. I should already know this, right? Sigma Gamma Rho Regional Conference is happening today here in a little bit. Portsmouth State of the City, y'all. Bike night at the zoo. Y'all know that National Bike Week is coming up. So the zoo is having a bike night where you can ride your bike through the zoo tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon. I think it's around 3. I'm not 100% of the time, but you can ride your bike through the zoo. There is also a Healthy Churches Roadmap Tour thing happening at NSU. There's a spring dog adopt-a-thon happening Front Street in Norfolk. Hold on, at PETA. I think it's happening at PETA. Somewhere in between Expo, the zoo, the fashion show at the zoo is on Saturday night for y'all. There's also another hair and fashion show that's happening on Sunday. The ERT is having a 10-mile ride along on Sunday as well. There is so much for you to get into and get outside and get connected to people. Get connected to people. I appreciate you. Thank you, David James. Thank you, Arlo, Mike. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget, if you appreciate what we do, put us in the budget. The link to contribute is in our bio, or go to delegatejackyglass.com, delegatejackyglass.com. Sign up for updates and put us in your budget. All right. Peace, chicken race. Be well.